really good point. If you are a fashion designer, even if you have a fashion technology company, you should check out Stacey Bendet. She's Alice and Olivia, and she does an incredible job on Facebook. If you like her on Facebook, you'll see how much she really integrates her brand and her message. She puts up these things that are a little inspiration, you know, what's state of Stacey's mind or something like that. It's really cute, but it's really shows her brand's identity, and she's constantly pushing out new content for people who are on Facebook. So if you are a designer and you want people to understand your brand, you want your people who are buying or potentially buying your brand, your designs, to understand what your thoughts are and really get to know you. I think that's the best way to build a brand. If people could really understand who you are as a person, what you like, what you're thinking. Think of all the brands that you really like. More than likely you know the person behind the brand, the designer behind the brand, and you feel like you kind of know them. Go ahead.
Who is it?
Stacey Bendet, Alice and Olivia.
Okay.
Did I say their name wrong?
No.
Okay. All right. So.
One more thing I wanted to point out for all the people hoping to start a FashionTech company or already in a FashionTech company or startup is, at least for us, we have no other real marketing besides social media, besides direct referrals and word of mouth. We have had our organic base customer growth, which is 100% quarter-over-quarter, strictly through social media. So bloggers and happy customers sort of spreading the word for us, which is, I mean, yeah.
Actually, if I can add, it kind of goes along with what Will was saying earlier about how a lot of people don't know that we sell more than shoes, and that's kind of a branding thing that we're always trying to tackle. But because of some of the products like pinpointing, you know, we're able to use Pinterest to kind of show the breadth of products that we do have. So, you know, in the product we're scraping the pins, and based on what people are pinning, we're actually recommending different products. So if you know, pin like a ring, we might recommend jewelry and actually have some product recommendations. So it's kind of giving like, it's really communicating to our customers the breadth of products. Similarly, we have a product called Tweet Wall where we are showing visually all the products that people are tweeting about. So it's kind of in a grid view. So just by looking at it from the homepage, you can just see in one quick glance of all the products that we're carrying. So these are kind of ways of integrating with Pinterest and Twitter to try to make sure that people know that, you know, we are a brand that's a lot more than shoes, and we're like purses and watches and everything else too. So that's been really helpful for our brand. That's a really good point.
And stepping back to from just the fashion industry, everyone should realize that a brand is a promise you make to your customers, and you do it again and again and again. So when you are on social media, be sure you're being authentic to your brand, whatever that is, with every tweet, with every Facebook post, with everything that your professional persona is. Figure out the promise you're making to your customers and stick to it.
That's a really good point, and it reminds me of the importance of having a professional Twitter and Facebook and a personal Twitter and Facebook, because no one wants to hear about your cat and your religion and all these different things that may scare somebody away. Or maybe not your cat. I don't think your cat would scare anybody away, but you always want to keep it kind of, you know, neutral. All right. Anyone else want to hit that question, or are we going to move on? All right. So move on. The crowd is getting restless. So here, this is my third question. I think is probably the most important thing, because I know we have a lot of people in this category. I think maybe 5 years ago, there was the launch of celebrity gossip bloggers, right? Perez Hilton, and then there was some other guy, delisted, and Perez Hilton seemed to be the guy on top. And so everyone stopped wanting to be a celebrity blogger because that market was saturated. And then we had Man Repellent. Everyone know who that is? So, you know, fashion bloggers who are becoming really big names. She's very good friends with Rebecca Minkoff, and she's really climbed the ladder, so to speak. She goes to all the fashion shows, and I'm completely forgetting her name, but she is very relevant. So now everybody wants to be a fashion blogger, so that's my next question, and maybe Ellie wants to take a stab at that, is the market for fashion bloggers saturated, or is there room for new voices? Are there still a room for somebody to come out and be the person of the, you know, voice of the indie designers? What do you think? Yes.
Well, as a former journalist, I think sort of the beauty of the web is that can it really ever be saturated? I think there's always room for a unique and different voice and different ways of showing compelling content. So, and I think the generation now is willing to shift their attention more quickly. So they're not as loyal to a certain, paper or traditional news, what we're used to in the news. So I definitely
Media is
think.
definitely shifting. And Lorraine, do you want to jump in on that question? Or?
Yeah, sure. So, I think when you're talking about fashion bloggers today, you're less and less talking about somebody who's just blogging, and you're more and more talking about somebody who is a publisher and an influencer on this really wide scale. Blogging is just a tool. It's just a platform. And people like Man Repeller, Leandra, she isn't just blogging. She's trying to run basically what the contemporary version of a magazine is. And I think a lot of the very successful bloggers are doing that, and there's certainly room for more people to come out and do their own thing. Of course, the ones that have been around doing it for 5 or 6 years and do have the millions of views are going to be hard to catch up with. But this is America.
That's a very good point. And I bring that question up because I think that you can have a fashion blog and that can just be what you do and that's your outlet and that's awesome. But if you want to have a business, right, a business where you're actually making money, that's when you got to start thinking about this. And if you are a fashion blogger and you're starting to get worried and I'm just like, oh no, there's too many of us. Check out a guy called Andrew Sullivan. He just rolled out this brand new model where he said he used to blog at, I'm getting old, I'm forgetting all these names. He used to blog somewhere. And then he took his show on the road and he raised $500,000, I think, like in 10 days, really quick amount of time. And so what he has is you pay $9.99 a year to get through his paywall, and so you get more content, kind of like the New York Times or Wall Street Journal. So he's totally disrupting this market where he's saying, no, I'm a blogger and I can make money doing what I'm doing. I have a great audience. I can charge $10 a year. Doesn't sound like a lot, but if you have millions and millions and millions of subscribers, you can really make a nice business out of that. So think about that when you think about, I'm going to be a fashion blogger because it's a business. Well, you got to really think about how you want to monetize that. Owen?
But subscribing doesn't necessarily translate to subscription. Is that
Correct. So you can have subscribers, you can have 200 million subscribers, and you have free, you're just selling ads. That's where it gets tricky. But with this new model, Andrew, he has paying subscribers. You pay $9.99 per year to have to be able to see more than 10 per month.
Susie Bendet just wrote an article about the fashion market. Janine Jacobs actually was doing a rebuttal. So the fashion bloggers are not known to be, I think they call them camera, I don't want to say the word.
Camera shy?
No, the other one.
Camera ready?
W.
Camera whores.
Camera horse.
Because they go to Fashion Week, they kind of hog the camera, and that was Susan Bendet. She wrote something about that, and then Janine sort of.
That's a good point. No, you got to see the pros and the cons, and that's another good question. If you're a fashion blogger and you got to ask yourself, okay, what do I want to be at? Maybe you want to be a fashion photo or whatever it is. Maybe you just want to go to the shows, and there's nothing wrong with that. Saying I'm going to blog about all these things because I get a press pass and I get into all these things, and that's what I want to do. But if you're saying, no, I want to quit my job and I want to make a business out of this, and this is my primary source of income, then you got to start thinking about how you monetize. And that's why I think that's, I wanted to answer that question because I think that I meet a lot of fashion bloggers who I say, oh, what do you do for a living? Like, I fashion blog, trying to grow my users, trying to sell some ads, and it's a tough business. So I just think it's good to hear both sides. So thanks, Owen, for bringing that to our attention. There's a very good conversation out there online. All right. Anybody else want to answer that question, or are we repeating that one? Go ahead.
Another way that I see fashion bloggers developing is more not so much blogging but vlogging. So and everyone's becoming more personal now and wanting to put themselves out there and not just follow one or two people leading the way. They want to be able to show their own point of view.
It's a little bit hard to read.
I'm scared of this microphone. Okay, so I said that vlogging I think is going to be up and coming, and especially since people want to really showcase who they are and what they're seeing and what they're doing, I think vlogging is definitely going to be coming up big and maybe even surpass vlogging, because fashion's very visual, and to read about fashion is one thing, but to see it and to see it in motion and not just in pictures is a really powerful thing that can captivate people. And if someone finds the right formula to take that and work it into their niche correctly, it can be a very, very powerful tool.
That's a great point. point. We're already seeing, she's saying vlogging, so using video. We're already seeing video lookbooks. So anytime you can use video, you really capture more of the experience. And anybody else want to answer that one? All right, so last question of generic questions. Where do you see fashion technology in 5 years? And I'm going to throw something out. Everyone knows how we had the mainframe, we had the PC, we had the laptop, we had the iPod, the iPad. Now you know what's next. I was reading an article, someone said next, eventually we're going to have a wearable computer, right? So how cool would that be? You know, we always have our phones like this, right? You always be walking around like this with our phones. Why not just put a phone on your wrist, right? You ever see those gigantic, you know, wristwatch? I think that we should have, and I think Apple should make this, or anybody can make it, you know, a watch computer. I don't know what it would be called, an iWatch or something? I don't know. That might be very cool. There you go. So if you guys want that, I think that'd be great. So that's where I see technology going in 5 years. I think that fashion and technology are going to merge, and people are going to be doing more wearable technology. And Alice, this would be a great present for you because you're working on the product stuff.
Well, I was actually going to take it to a different. I don't think this one. Well, I was thinking about when I was thinking about this question about fashion and technology. I was kind of thinking of in a different way, in the regard of how fashion is influencing technology. Like on Zappos, for let me just say, like, you know, for everyone's iPhones or smartphones, it's all customizable now. The wallpaper and the shells and the ringtones. And on Zappos, one interesting thing is the two brands that we sell the most of for the phone covers is Kate Spade and Marc Jacobs. And these are like couture brands, right? So I think what's really interesting is that high fashion is going to be making a bigger impact and influence on everyday technology products. And I think that's kind of interesting to see that merge in kind of that direction.
Yeah, it's a really, really good point. Even Chanel has an iPad cover.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to answer that?
Yeah. So I mean, I think wearable tech is obviously going to be, you know, huge. But I think so many retail brands right now are trying to figure out new ways to give people what they want exactly when they want it. And technology is, you know, has the potential to solve that in ways that we haven't been able to do in the past. So I think you're going to see a lot more brands coming out with really kind of cool online features and tools and customization and curation that's going to, you know, serve to deliver a product right in front of your face, right at the moment that you happen to be in the store looking for it based on your past activity. I know that's kind of vague, but there's like a million different ways you could do that. It just sort of is a common theme that I hear companies talking about all the time when they talk about their kind of vision for the future. And then secondly, I would love to see, and I hope that, you know, the fashion industry itself is very slow to change when you talk about the supply chain, and I think that there's a lot of potential for the actual industry, the manufacturing, to be speeded up and be streamlined and changed and less in silos as we move forward, and tech can really help with that. So.
Yes, I couldn't agree with Lorraine more. I think the industry is so primed for disruption. One of the things I'm really excited about is the new body metric scanning stuff. I don't think anything is quite consumer ready right now, but I think it's really going to change the landscape of online shopping once, you know, there's a couple big ones out there like Fitikit and Zagara and stuff. I also think that we're going to see a lot more peer-to-peer platforms, which I'm also excited about. I think one of the groups came up with a app where you take a picture of something and you know, say, where is this, or how do I identify this? And I think there will eventually be some way for some platform where someone can say, like, oh, I know where those are, I can pick those up for you and send it to you. Another thing that I think we as consumers can all benefit from is hopefully big retailers will start to realize that, you know, take more initiative on their mobile platforms. So on your phone, or if it's on your watch eventually, you know, if you're in Target or whatever and you go to do a price comparison with Amazon, somehow Target can, you know, see that you're actually doing that, and then either offer you a coupon or meet that price. And I think if you know, big retailers don't start doing that, they'll regret it definitely in the near future.
Anyone else want to answer? Owen wants to answer that.
Fashion GPS.
Fashion GPS.
It was launched at New York Fashion Week 5 years ago. So when you get to the runways, you